Hi, I'm Simdale and welcome to this Theatre Spoofled. And happy Easter! It should be Easter Sunday when this goes up, so that's exciting. Easter is one of my favourite holidays, which, well, I guess it's only really competing with Christmas, so that might not be saying much. But Christmas is also one of my favourite holidays. I guess they're quite different though. Like, Christmas is basically a whole month, Easter's just a few days. I love, so much stuff about Christmas though. I love Christmas carols and wearing Christmas jumpers, having Christmas dinner, setting fire to Christmas pudding, opening stockings, watching the Queen's speech, having a great Christmas tree, all that kind of stuff. And then Easter, I guess, you have an Easter egg hunt, which I love. I literally will not let my family stop having Easter egg hunts because they're just so great. And what is Easter without an Easter egg hunt? We're usually at my grandma's house for Easter, and she lives in quite a rural area, so she's got a really big garden, and it's got so many good hiding places. And we have dogs as well, and they get so excited about the hunt. It's so cute. Maybe this year I should actually hide some dog treats for them, because at the moment, they'll find the chocolate and you just have to take it away from them. So I guess if you had some actual dog treats, then they could have them. That'd be great, because they really do enjoy unwrapping presents. It's so funny. Especially I've got a Cocker Spaniel, and he gets so excited unwrapping presents at Christmas. He'll come and fight you for your presents, but in an adorable kind of way. It's super cute. And what else is there at Easter? Well, I guess you have your Easter lunch, which is usually lamb. And I suppose there must be Easter hymns as well, the equivalent of Christmas carols. But I don't really know that many, to be honest. But anyway, I hope you have a great Easter. None of this has got anything to do with the build, so we'll move on. So yeah, I'm building this theatre, and I put it on one of the two 64 by 64 lots. This is the one in Brindleton Bay. And when I decided that, I thought that if I put it on the biggest lot, I would just have as much space as I needed to mess around with, and I didn't have to use it all. If it ended up being smaller, I could put it on a smaller lot. But then I think just because I had all that space, I just went completely overboard and used it all. So this build is completely massive. And because it is so big, I mainly just focused on making this front facade that I'm working on now look good, and I've sort of left a lot of the rest. The sides have got a bit of detailing, but not very much, and the back wall has got basically nothing, it doesn't even have any windows. But yeah, I was just really focused on making the front look good. And because this build is so big, it took me a really long time, and so I've actually split this video into two parts. So this part is just the building, and then next week's video will be the furnishing. Yeah, so while I was trying to decide what the theatre should look for, I just did a Google image search of theatres, and I found one of the images that I really liked that was one of those London traditional type theatres, and it's a style that I really like. So I didn't just straight up copy it, but I took some of the aspects of it as inspiration for this build. I had a lot of pop-outs and different styles of windows on different levels, which you can see I'm kind of trying to do here a bit. So at the moment I've got this just set as a residential property, but I think it would be better as a community lot, naturally. But I guess as a theatre, that's just not really an option in The Sims. You can't really have Sims go in and watch a performance, which is a shame because that would be so cool, but I guess it's quite a big ask. So I suppose it could be maybe a park or a museum. A museum might be good because then I've put a piano inside, so then they'd actually go and play that. But I guess to be honest, most of this is just a static. There's not really much of a reason to come and visit it, which is a shame. I think there are quite a lot of builds that I want to do that would be like that, which is a shame because it is nice to build stuff in The Sims and then actually be able to have your Sims go and use it. But then I guess it is also fun to do more experimental stuff, even if they can't use it. Oh my gosh, this bit. So I wanted to have that sort of front balcony area, but I also didn't want it to be unroofed. But then I also didn't want it to be an extension of that balcony above it, so that was giving me a lot of trouble. I don't think that's what I left it as, is it? Oh, it might be. But yeah, quite a lot of trouble with that. But I just remembered going to a theatre that had that sort of raised covered front area, and I thought that was quite a nice style, so I put that on. And yeah, you can just see I couldn't figure out what to do, and even with like all the new roofing tools that we have, it wasn't working out. But then I remembered spandrels evidently, and I must have roofed it. But yeah, the spandrels just made it look a lot better and not like an extension of the upper balcony. So I think that worked out all right in the end. But the actual roofing on the top was so difficult. I mean, I'll talk about it when we actually get there, but that was difficult. And here, I wasn't really sure what I wanted the actual access to the theatre to look like, because in my mind, I wanted it to just be like on a street with buildings on either side, so it would just like be sitting on the pavement. But obviously that's not a thing that we have in The Sims. And it actually, this lot has got that nice, quite ornamental entrance anyway, so I tried to just expand on that, which I thought was what I was doing now, but it evidently is not. I was just making more pop-outs, and the diagonal walls, when you try and change the shape of a room, they always get so annoying and go in the way. So I've had to make quite a few floors like on the ground and then move them around. As you can see, I did just there. I spent quite a lot of time trying to decide what windows go together. I feel like most of the time in builds, I'll just pick one set of windows or just one window and use it everywhere, but that was going to look so repetitive on this build. And the pitch that I looked at did have different styles of windows on each different level, and I think because they're separated by the level for the most part, that looks alright. I was a bit concerned that having too many windows might mess up the inside. Like, I didn't want there to be windows opening up onto the stage or the seating or anything, but the way it's worked out, it's fine. Like, most of the front rooms are lounges and bar areas, so it makes sense for there to be windows in them. And then the sides are mostly like corridors and private rooms, so again, it's fine having windows. But yeah, I don't know why I made this build 4 stories. Like, it's very excessive. I definitely wanted to have like the main seating area downstairs, and then like 2 levels of galleries, so like 2 higher levels of seating. And so yeah, I definitely didn't need the 4th story, but I think probably the picture I was looking at must have had 4 stories, so I just decided to do that as well. I guess theatres are usually like quite tall buildings, so I did want to do that as well. But then when it came to the furnishing, like, I didn't want another seating level that high up, and I also just didn't want to furnish anything that I didn't really know about. Like, I don't know what you would have upstairs in a theatre. So I just left the 4th story, or 3rd story, however you want to do it, English or American. I just left that top story like unfurnished. And here you can see me having trouble with the roof. It was so bad. So I wanted there to be like that pedimental triangle above the centre, and then those like smaller triangles on either side. But then I didn't know what to do for like the main bit of the roof. So I started to just focus on, oh my god, it's lagging so much. I hope it's not lagging for you guys, but for me it's gone so laggy. But yeah, I wanted to just focus on the front facade. So I just did those little tower areas and like really focus on making the front look good. But then I also didn't want the centre to look empty like it does at the moment. Because if you are playing in this lot, like, obviously you are going to see the roof at some point. And that just looks so barren and like pretty awful. And yeah, the picture that I was using to like get inspiration for this build, it was shot from like a low angle, so you can actually see the roof at all. So that wasn't helpful. And since this building is basically just like a big square, it's so hard to roof and make it look nice. I'm not very good at roofing at the best of times, but this was like such a challenge for me. And then here I had the idea of making like a central like feature. So it's got all these like different sized bits of half wall to make this like central decoration. And I wasn't quite sure whether I wanted it to be exactly in the centre or like in the centre ignoring that bit of roofing, if you see what I mean. I don't know, you probably don't. I didn't explain that very well. But yeah, then I put another bit of roof inside, and I ended up covering it well, I think you'll see in a minute, I covered it with some of the roof decorations that we have. But even with that, like, I was expecting just to do that central bit, but it still looked so empty. So I had to like cover up the sides with those well, I changed from the slanted roofs to this one, so that they're like at the half-hipped walls, so that there's just like a bit more going on up there. And I think it actually turned out all right. Like, I spent so long on the roof, having so much trouble, and I think for what it was worth, it turned out pretty well. So then I just covered up that exposed edge of the half-tip roofs with a bit of half wall. And then I think I must have put on roof decorations next. Yeah, I think I put, yeah, they're like the little spikes on top of those spires. And what I really wanted to do was to have like some sculptural pediment on that central pediment. I think like that would look so good, but obviously the Sims doesn't have anything like that. I was wondering if I could just like delete the wall section of the roof and put in some sculptures, but like I'm sure there is a way to do that, to delete the roof section and keep the roof, but I don't know how. So I didn't end up doing that. I should look that up actually, because I feel like I would love to make some sculptural pediments. Like, can make a Greek temple or something. Oh, that'd be so much fun. I've actually made a Greek temple before, but I think I could do it so much better now because I made that a few years ago. And then I just covered this central area in loads of spikes. I know you can probably say I put some of them in the wrong place, but by the end of it, I figured out how to do it and figured out I was wrong even and changed them around. And yeah, I cut out a lot of doing that because it was just ages and ages of just getting out an object, moving it up a bit with the cheats. So I think it's the same here. I just lined these four edges with the spikes and yeah, cut out the rest because it was just same. And then what do I move on to next? Oh yeah, some of the roof decorations kept getting deleted or like moving down, which was annoying. So like throughout the build I keep having to go back and fix those. Yes, I think this is where I was trying to figure out what to do with the pediment. I can't remember if I left that oh, what do you call it, like that floor trim there. I think I did actually. And then I kept finding all these other wall decorations, like that bit of roofing that I thought would look good somewhere, but it really didn't. And yeah, those balconies. Did I use it on the side? I'm pretty sure I didn't. No, I got rid of that. Yeah, just trying to figure out what to do with that pediment because it just does look so empty at the moment. I think I end up putting a sign in there, like that would be the name of the theatre up in lights or whatever. But oh, I think I keep those little squares on from Jungle Adventure for a while before I find something better. And then yeah, you can see I was just trying to think about where I could put a sign because I thought it should have one, but I didn't really want a sign like on the ground at the front. I just didn't think that would look as stylish. So yeah, I think that looks fine. And then I must move on to doing the entrance area at some point. I actually finished the building of this like quite a few weeks ago now, so I don't fully remember it. But I wanted to have a lot of time to do the furnishing because like the build itself I knew was going to take a long time, and I thought the furnishing would just take even longer. But to be honest, by the time I got to the furnishing, like the furnishing wasn't actually as long as the build. I was quite surprised. I guess because quite a lot of it was just seating and rooms that could not quite be copied, but they were very samey. Like you would get the theme of the theatre and then you would just basically use the same items. Well, I was like basically using the same items in each room. So yeah, it didn't take as long as I thought. And I thought that the dressing rooms would be quite hard because I thought they would have to have so much more like detailing stuff in, and they did, but it was actually really fun because I think I was quite bored of just doing the same stuff over and over, and I do actually really enjoy doing like detailing of clutter and stuff, so that was a lot more fun than I was expecting it to be. So that was good. And yeah, I guess I shouldn't talk about that too much though, otherwise I'll have nothing to say in the furnishing build. So yeah, that'll be coming out next week. Probably not as long as this video, though I haven't edited it yet. And I've been trying just for these two builds, a different style of editing. Like, I'm not really very good at editing, but before I was like taking out all of the mistakes I made and like things that I would try and then didn't use, I'd get rid of those. And I ended up having so many like tiny cuts that it took forever to edit, and it was just like quite boring. So for this, I got rid of like the roofing when there was just big sections of me doing the same thing over and over. But for the most part, it is just like sped up, and you can see all the different things I try out. Which, like, when I'm watching other people speed build on The Sims, I love seeing different things they try out. And like sometimes I'll try something that I think looks great, and then they'll get rid of because they don't think it does. And it's just nice to like see people's thought processes when they're building. So I think I would rather like stick to the style where you can see all the different things I try. And then here I'm finally moving on to the entrance. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to match that stone like front area on like the path up to it. I decided not to in the end. But I wanted it to have like quite a ornamental entranceway leading off from the like entrance that already exists, just like from the lot that it's on. I suppose if you put it on the other 64x64 in Windenburg, is that on the island in Windenburg? I think it must be. So that wouldn't have the same kind of entrance. So I don't know if that would still look alright. I don't know. Maybe not. Well, I guess it will just have to stay here. And when I zoomed out just now, I'm not sure if this lot is actually centered, which I didn't notice while I was building it, but oh my god, if it's not centered, that's going to annoy me so much when I'm playing. I mean, I guess I can go and fix it, but yeah, like I often don't really think about having my build centered, because like for houses and stuff it doesn't really matter, but then for something like this it probably should be. It might actually be actually, she says actually. But yeah, I was just gonna have like this triangle of gravel, but then it looks so empty, so I put this little plant feature in the middle, and then I think I just like line it with hedges, so it's not like too much going on, but you know, it looks nice enough. Which is all you can ask for, really. Yeah, I think it's fine just with the central plant area. I don't really know what else I would have done, because I did really just want it to be just on a pavement in front of a street, but yeah, didn't really work out like that. Oh well. I'm not sure what I move on to doing next then. Oh, I actually do the layout in this as well, so I'll do that at some point. And I'd spent so long on the front facade by this point and just like completely ignored the sides and the back. And I didn't really mind not doing anything at the back, because like you're probably not going to look at it too often. But the sides, like you often do look at builds from a 3/4 angle, so I didn't want to leave them completely empty. I didn't want to do as much as I'd done on the front, because that would just take so long and like probably wouldn't really be worth it. But I copied a lot of like the window styles over there, and I tried to make a fire escape as well, which I think, yeah, I think I just got quite not bored. Like I was having fun, but I wanted a break from doing the detailing of the outside, so I moved on to the layout instead. So I wanted the stage to be raised, which is why I put the whole building on a foundation, so that you could then make this split level, which as far as I'm aware is like the only way to make a split level in The Sims 4, which is a shame, because split levels are great, and you know, everyone wants terrain tools back so that we can do that again properly. But for this, like just the one split level on the ground floor worked out fine. So then you've got the stage there, obviously sticking out into the like currently a grassy area, which will get a flooring over at some point. And then behind that there's like the whole backstage area, and then there's behind the seating at the front of the build there's all like the lobby and like bars, toilet areas. And I also did these like private bar areas and boxes, so I thought that if you were sitting in a box, you would then have this like private lounge to hang out with before and like in the interval and whatever. that's quite good. And then I wanted to have the galleries as well, so I've made a couple of extra galleries, I suppose. I think I've got 2, so that ends up being 3 levels of seating. And oh yeah, the floor trims kept being so annoying. Like, that one changed colour. Like, I didn't change it to being brown, but it just decided it was going to be. And then if I tried to replace it with a white one, it just wouldn't even go on at all. It was so annoying. And then like the floor trims kept coming inside, and the only way I could get around that in the end was to like build rooms that it doesn't consider to be outside. Like, at the moment I think it considers the ground floor seating area to be outside, so it's got freezers, which is not what I wanted. So yeah, I had to make more rooms than I was expecting, but it's fine. And then there was just that one area that you could probably say I was putting plants over just now. I just could not get the freeze to go back, and I don't know why. Like, there was no reason for it not to go on, but you know, it was just being annoying. So I've just covered that by putting on some of those jungle adventure plants. Did them in red, so it's a bit autumnal, even though the trees outside aren't, but whatever, I thought the red was nice. And then, what am I doing? I think I just copy the backstage area up several floors. Again, like, as I said, missing out the top floor because I just left that unfurnished. And trying to fix that stupid freeze area. It was so annoying. And then I think I went away from the game for a bit then, which is what that cut was, and came back to furnishing later because I knew that I had to do the sides and I just couldn't quite face it then. But I had this idea to do a fire escape because, you know, it seems safe. But then you can see the fire escape doesn't really make sense. Like, it's only got a door going to the top floor. None of the other floors, you know, if there's a fire, the Sims will just have to burn to death unless they're on the top floor, which I can't even get to. So having the access up there doesn't really make sense. But to be honest, I don't really mind that, because then if I am using this build, like, as something more than just an aesthetic thing, the Sims will actually use the front doors rather than the fire escape, because that would just be annoying. Though there is a door around the back as well that they can go through, but that leads to backstage, so that's alright. And yeah, so I was building it kind of at the front of the side, but I didn't like that it was visible from the front. Like, the fire escape's not the nicest looking thing, so I've ended up moving it back here, which I think looks a lot better. And yeah, as I said, not usable, just an aesthetic thing. But oh well, it was like a detail that I thought looked nice. And then I think oh no, I thought that I built something wrong, but it was just placing the flooring down to have the stairs attach onto was like making the shapes a bit different. But that was fine. And you know, when you place stairs without there being a floor, they sort of create an area of floor for themselves that just looks exactly the same as the stairs. I don't know if I was explain that very well, but I really wanted to have that type of flooring. So these are the grated stairs, so I wanted the grated flooring to match, but I couldn't make it come up on my own. And that flooring isn't an option in the build menu, which is a shame, because like, that would look so much better. So I think I've just had to put some like black wood or black concrete or something. Oh yeah, and then this area of freeze decided not to work as well, because it thought that bit of stair was a room, so it was trying, even though there isn't a roof there, it was trying to put a floor trim around it, which was irritating. So I've covered that out with more flowers, but I think that actually decides to work later on. Maybe in the next video you'll probably see that the floor trim there just decides that it will work, so then I get rid of those flowers, because there are quite a lot really. And I keep saying floor trim and freeze interchangeably, but I feel like in The Sims we use floor trims as freezers, so it doesn't really matter that you say them interchangeably. And then yeah, just putting in a few more details on the sides. I was like originally thinking of just leaving the sides completely empty, but yeah, as I said, that would have been quite sad. So I've just copied whatever windows are on the front to continue around on the sides. And I think I was thinking about doing something on the back and then decided not to. And instead I'm making all the rooms that make up the backstage. So I think there's 3 dressing rooms, a sort of like entrance room with some lockers in, and a delivery room that you could just like put supplies in. I don't know what kind of supplies, but you know, something. And then there's a couple of toilets with showers. I thought that if they were like rehearsing, they'd probably want there to be a shower. And yeah, just this back area so that the performers don't have to go in through the front, they can go around the back instead. And yeah, I completely forgot that stairs don't attach onto diagonal decks or diagonal floors, and that is so irritating. Like, it doesn't seem like it would be a particularly difficult thing to make work. So I don't know why it's like that. It's so annoying. So I had to extend the deck around to the side a bit so that the stairs attach onto a regular like non-diagonal deck, which also got me thinking about how we still don't have spiral staircases or L-shaped stairs in The Sims. Like, I don't even know how long The Sims been out there, but like ages. And I feel like we got spiral staircases in The Sims 3, like not super quickly, but way more quickly than we've got it. Well, obviously we still don't have it in The Sims 4. And it would be so much easier to have spiral staircases. Like, to do tiny homes, that would be so good. And just have some variety, like, especially when you're using, like, the higher wall levels. The stairs get so long, and they just take up so much space. It's annoying. But anyway, yeah, here I am creating the boxes. And around those, there are like those little triangle areas between them, because I wanted the boxes to be that shape, but then I also didn't want there to be like exposed empty space between them. So I've just walled those areas off to give it just like a regular like what do I mean? Like a rectangular corridor with no weird little extra bits in. And then here I thought that I would probably come back to the build later, like I've been building for a long time and I didn't want to go straight into the furnishing, but I had like decided the layout and I didn't want to forget what the layout was, so I was just putting in a bunch of placeholder items. So those are not items that I will use, they're just like the type. So there's a toilet in the room that's going to be a toilet and stuff like that, and just deciding where the stairs could go. I guess all the pop outs and stuff, this build did end up being like a bit of a funny shape, but I feel like that's fine. Like, a lot of theatres that I've been to are really like higgledy-piggledy. So yeah, I didn't mind at all that it was like a weird shape, but I did have to think a bit about the layout and which bits I could like wall off as being unused areas and things like that. Oh yeah, and I just put a half wall in the front of the boxes so that they were separate from the main seating area. Oh, and I'd never realised that before, but when you copy a room that has half walls in, the half walls don't copy, they just go in as a full wall, which is annoying, so I had to change that a bit. I mean, it wasn't too annoying. To be honest, I could have just made one box here, because then in the furnishing I did literally just copy the box rooms and place however many there were, so I didn't really need to build them all, but there we are, doing it anyway. And I thought they could have the downstairs ones anyway, have got their own like private toilet, though the ones upstairs don't. Though I was thinking, you know, toilets, you know, theatres have never got enough toilets in, and there's always like a ridiculous queue at half time. Oh my god, I can't speak anymore. At the interval, there's always like a ridiculous queue, especially for the women's toilets. And you'll all be queuing for like 2 or something stupid. It's just like not enough cubicles. But then there was so much space in this build. Like, I wanted to do that, to just have like barely any toilets to be realistic. But then there was so much space in the build that I thought that it didn't make much sense. So there's actually a whole bunch, and The Sims are much more lucky than we are in our theatre viewing lives. I don't really know what else there is to say about this build now. I think I just focus on the layout a lot more. And I put some lights around as well, because it's been very dark for the last while of doing the layout. And I was trying to think what build I would do next for this channel, because like normally I've always like had ideas of what to do next, and now like obviously next week video is going to be the furnishing, so that's fine. I've got like plenty of time to do another build, but I just haven't decided what to do yet. And I guess like earlier I mentioned the Greek temple, and I think that would be so much fun. Like I could do a renovation actually of the first one that I did. Oh, that would be so much fun. It's kind of a shame actually, because just yesterday or the day before, I made this tiny castle build that I'm like so proud of. I think it's really cute. I'll show you actually. There we go. I'm pretty proud of it. Like, it's pretty cute, and it's got that little clock tower and a moat and all like the plants around the side and different styles of windows that still go together somehow. Yeah, I just think it looks nice, and I like all the towers and stuff. And I just didn't record it, which was a shame. Like, I was just building it for myself to use in a playthrough that I'm just like doing on my own. But I think it's just turned out like so much nicer than I was expecting it to. So it would have been good if I'd filmed that, and then I could have had that as the next video. Because I do like that one a lot. But yeah, I guess the renovation of the Greek temple could be a good one. So I always like doing renovations of my first builds. Like, as I've said before in like another video, my original builds from The Sims 4 are just like so bad and they're really shocking. But it's always like so much fun to go back to them and like see how you've improved and change things about. So it'd be good to do that. I think that is what I'll do actually. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see that in 2 weeks' time. Early plug. I think there's just like a tiny bit more of the build. Oh yeah, I was thinking about just getting rid of that floor entirely, so that the top floor would just like have extra tall walls. And then I had this idea instead, like I decided to leave that floor empty and to make this area here that's like a lighting fixture. So it would have all these runners and stuff that you could put lights on and change where they hang. And because I feel like that's a realistic thing that theatres have. So that was fun to make. And I've put some lights underneath it so it looks like they are hanging off it, which is cool. And they are those like spotlight theatre kind of lights. But there's actually no access to this area. So there's like no real realism. So The Sims, if they did want to change where the lights are, couldn't actually do it. But well, like I think it's just a nice detail anyway. I was just trying to get all the lights in line so they look like they're hanging off. And like the centre of each of the bars. It's just kind of a shame that the lights don't go down to the stage level. Like they're mostly just on like the back wall. I think in the actual furnishing of the build, I then put in some more lights lower down so that the stage is lit, because otherwise that central area just gets so dark. Yeah, just fixing up some of those roof bits that drop down. I think some of the flooring there is missing that I don't think I've actually fixed. Or just on that roof section. Oh no, I'll have to go back and do that. Oh well, if you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see next week's video of the furnishing of this theatre. Okay, bye.